This is Mark Bell from SuperTraining Gym. SuperTraining Gym, the strongest gym in the West, and we're inside of Slingshot World Headquarters. And I got a good one for you guys today. We're going to talk about equanimity. This is something I put up on my Twitter, so please go check it out. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Having an even mind is a state of psychological stability and composure which is undisturbed by experience of or exposure to emotions, pain, or other phenomena that may cause others to lose the balance of their mind. Practice this, teach this, especially to your kids. I'm going to read it again just to kind of go, and then I'll go over this. So this is the word equanimity. I don't think enough people have heard this. I don't think enough people have been taught this. Having an even mind. Now just think about having an even mind and what that would mean to you. What it means to me is that I have a balance line that goes like this. If I was to make a drawing, I would have a line here, okay? Now, if I was to take things that people sometimes will say, for example, sometimes people say they have thick skin. When I'm thinking about this even mind, this even line, this form of balance, I would take that line, and rather than having that line be really thin, I would go broop, and I'd have the line be nice and fat, okay? And I'm gonna explain why I want to have some range with this band of evenness, okay? So I got this thick band of evenness right here. Now, somebody could say something to me, somebody can try to do something to me. So let's say that I was to get some bad news about my mother, okay? So I told you guys I have this kind of balance line right here. So down here would be feeling bad, and up here would be feeling good. And right here would be just me hanging out in the middle, okay? But because I have this kind of stretched out band where I have a ceiling and I have a floor, I don't allow things to go through the floor, and I don't allow things to go through the ceiling. Somebody tells me, hey, you did $1 million in sales. I don't go push through the roof. I don't celebrate. I don't go crazy. I get pretty pumped. I get excited. I enjoy a glass of wine with my wife. Maybe we have a treat, and that's about it. I go about my normal day. Next day, everything's normal. I don't get up and tell all my friends how much money I made. I don't get up and tell everybody, I don't tell the world on how good the sales went. I might mention to our team here at the office, I might say, hey, great coordinated effort, everybody. You did a great job. That was fantastic. We executed, we did well, we did exactly what we wanted to do. And then the same thing with receiving bad news, receiving news that maybe my mom's not doing so well. By the way, my mom's doing fine. This is just an example. So I get news that my mom's not doing well, and yes, I feel that. Yes, that does, it stirs up some emotions, it stirs up some feelings, but before it gets embedded and before it gets downloaded into the system, I swirl it around a little bit and I think about it. I think about my thoughts. I think about, oh, what is that feeling? Why do I feel that way? What can I do about it? Okay, I got news that my mom, my mom's been on a walker for a few years, right? I get news that my mom is just not doing well on a particular day. She's feeling very ill. And so what can I do about it? Perhaps I can have an in-house, have a doctor go visit the house to see how she's doing. These are all things that play through my mind rather than, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. I don't start to cry, I don't start to get upset. Now I do understand that some people react that way. We don't always have a choice on where our thoughts drift to, but we do have a choice 100% on how we react to stuff. I love the idea of equanimity. I love the idea of balance. It's a way of living for me. And I connected to this word so well when I read it, and a lot of this comes from some Stoicism and stuff like that. And I'm going to be talking to Ryan Holiday on my podcast coming up soon. I'm going to be talking to Ryan Holiday, and I'm really excited for that. So you guys can look for that show. And I've gotten some great information off of him. I got some great information off of Tim Ferriss. I've been studying this stuff for several years now. Tim Ferriss was one of the first that I saw to really open up and talk about it quite a bit. People are always talking about like life hacks. How do I decompress from the day? Well, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Those are all great things. But I will tell you this, that when you start to learn these disciplines, you will not feel the need to meditate. Now, you could still meditate and you could move yourself even further forward by exploring that and exploring what that does to you. But you won't feel like you need anything because everything that you have comes from the inside. It comes from within. When you see the news from CNN, and then you see the news from Fox, and then you hear a statement made by Trump, and you hear a statement made by this guy, and you hear this, and you hear that, you don't have to have it move you any which way. You don't need to get mad about it. You could get mad about it. It's your choice. It's up to you. But you get to choose that. Here's an interesting question. Why, when some of us have been through like a tough breakup, why do we choose sad music? Like, do we want to just wallow in that? Are we like, hey, I just really want to cry, and you just turn? I don't think that that's helpful. Now, somebody could say, well, it is important to get the emotions out. I disagree. I think it's important to work out the emotions. Why are you feeling that way? What is that sadness that you're feeling? You're the one that told the person to take a hike, so you don't want to be with them anymore anyway. You got to remember that. Or if they dumped you, you got to remember they don't want to be with you anymore. I know it's sad. I know it sucks. I know sometimes it's more than just a breakup. I know sometimes it involves children, and it involves a divorce, and it involves the courts, and it involves, right? But how massive that is and how negative that impacts your life is a choice, and I've seen it unfold before my very eyes in many different ways. And the only difference, it hasn't been money. The only difference has been mindset. That's why I say occupy your mind. Another thing that I learned that I think has been really effective for me is there's things that you can do stuff about, and there's things that you can't. The things that you can't do anything about, there's no reason to worry about them because you don't have any control over them. The things that you can control, because you can do stuff about it, there's also no reason to worry about that. Years ago, the gym was on fire. Our bathroom was on fire at the gym. The guy that was working the front desk for us at the time, he said, what do you want me to do? I said, I don't know anything about fires. Call the fire department. Hung up the phone. I continued to cook up my fish because I was on a bodybuilding diet. I was eating fish and rice. I was getting ready for a photo shoot. And my wife goes, who was that? I said, oh, it was the gym. She's like, what's going on? I said, it's on fire, but fire department's coming. It's going to be fine. She was like, what? She's like, well, someone should freaking be there. And so she drove up to the gym. But what is she going to do? You know, what are we going to do? Attach a hose to the side of the building and put our thumb over top of the hose and like try to spray out this giant fire? It's not going to do anything. So equanimity, this is what we need. We need a balanced mind. When things come our way, we open up that band. We have a little bit of thickness, a little bit of thick skin. And when something is really positive and something's great, it's okay to go a blip above that medium line. It's okay to go above that threshold of just being completely even. We don't need to be completely even all the time. You could say, you know what, I am pumped about this. This is pretty cool. I choose not to live my life that way because I don't want those ups and downs. Now, I'm also not going to judge and say that you can't live your life a different way. It's up to you. You can live your life whatever way that you want. These are just suggestions. These are things that have been helpful to me. And so I'm not telling you that you need to do this. I'm not telling you that you even should do this. I'm simply explaining something that worked really well for me, and that if you explore it for yourself, I think you'll find that it'll be really, really useful and really powerful for you. Let me just kind of continue onward with the quote. We went over having an even mind. And what does having an even mind mean? It means that we are in a state of psychological stability and composure. Now here's a key part. So you got stability and composure, but it's in the face of a bunch of crap going on, right? It's undisturbed by experience. Undisturbed by your experiences, meaning there's experiences going on that are potentially negative. If you don't view those as negative, you don't give them any power. Somebody says a racial slur to you. Somebody calls me white privilege. I don't give that any power. I don't give that a second thought. I don't even bother to go into the list of things that my family has done over the years because it's really none of anybody else's business. I don't care that they said that. I'm not going to give it any power. There's no reason for me to empower that person. F you don't know me, bro. You don't know my family. Like what? Where does that get me? To me, that gets me nowhere. To me, that gets me stuck. To me, that gets me into a fight. I don't want to get into a fight. Undisturbed by experiences or exposure to emotions. So there's the experience of it, like what is actually going on, and then there's your own emotions of it, which this is what makes it all so complicated. because we have our thoughts, we have our emotions, and we have the actual experience of it. Now it's like, man, things can get really crazy really fast. I talked today on my podcast a lot about how you can walk yourself down an aisle of doom, or you can walk yourself down an aisle of hope. Have you done this before? Have you done this to yourself? Have you been about ready to brush your teeth and get ready to go to bed, and then you thought about what's coming up in like a week or two and just completely frighten yourself to the point where you feel like numb, you feel sick to your stomach, you're like, oh my God, I don't know how that's gonna go. And then you start even questioning like who you are and what your life purpose is. It's like, whoa, stop the noise. How did we get here? How did we end up here? The thing to keep in mind that when you walk yourself down that aisle of disaster is to understand that that is very normal. I would say that has always happened to me. I shouldn't say always. That has happened to me a lot in my life, and it will probably continue to happen. I'm starting a supplement line coming up, and in starting that endeavor, yeah, there's some things where you're like, I don't know. But like, what are these things that make us crazy like that? Because I'm not concerned with what other supplement companies have done. I have zero concern over that. I'm not trying to mimic EAS or Metrex or First Form, or trying to mimic myself. I'm trying to make my own path. I'm trying to write my own story. I try to think about, when you get yourself off track and you start really thinking about those thoughts, but you're thinking about those thoughts and on the negative side of things, well, now we got a problem. If you're thinking about your thoughts in a positive way, there's not too much reason to give too much strength to it, because things are heading in the right direction. So you want to be careful with how much of that exposure you have to the emotions as well as the experience. We have pain, any other phenomenon kind of connected to those feelings that may cause others to lose the balance of their mind. And I really like the way that ends right there, because that's for other people. Have you seen someone lose their mind in front of you before? Have you seen someone get really pissed off? Have you seen somebody get really mad before? In kind of closing this up, it may cause others to lose the balance of their mind. I think it's just really powerful to know that you don't have to be like other people. You can do your own thing, your own way. You could be 20 years old and you can kind of like checkmate your parents, because if they don't learn this, if they don't know how to do this, then I think this helps make you smarter than somebody else. An IQ is one thing, but your EQ is another. Your ability to deal with your emotions on a daily basis is massive. What's called an EQ, is in reference to emotional intelligence. Where's your emotional intelligence? You can be as smart as you want. If I see you fly off the handle and start saying racial slurs or start saying MF this, MF that, I'm like, I'm done with you. I'm already like, okay, getting knocked down a rung, depending on how bad it would be, right? But you're really starting to go low on my totem pole after, an episode like that, because I'm not very tolerant of stuff like that. I don't like to see irrational behavior. But I would also say, back to equanimity, I don't think we're ever going to solve irrational thought with irrational thought. People are in the moment right now. The emotional intelligence of just about everyone seems to be very, very poor. You don't have to participate in that. You can rise above that, and you can say, you know what? I'm not shifted one way or the other. Maybe you are political. Maybe you are more for Democrats. Maybe you are more for Republicans or whatever. But you don't have to be swayed by saying that someone else doesn't believe in the same views that you believe in. Remember, I've talked in the past too about your beliefs are made up. These are things that you make up. You believe that they're true, but they're not necessarily true. They're just true for you or true to you. They're not actually true. They're things that you made up. We don't know really much for certain. As long as we've been on this earth, there's a couple things that we feel that we know with the most degree of certainty, but we don't know anything for certain. Anyway, there you have it. There's equanimity. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this useful. Thank you guys so much. Again, in the comments below, let me know what you have learned over the years and what has been beneficial to you. I noticed in the last video that I did, and it was about Stoicism, the positive response on that was great. I even recommended to a couple of you, just email me. And then what I also loved is when you guys were commenting back and forth to each other. Hey, this is a good book. Hey, you should check that out. This is how we create knowledge. This is how we move forward as a society. So I'd love to see that continue. Strength is never a weakness. I dropped my phone. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you all later.